I believe that the most important principle is a very simple one that is at the heart of most of the world's great religions, which is treat somebody the same way you'd want to be treated. And if you start with that basic premise, then we will continue to make progress.
President, I wanted to ask you the following question. We live in a world where cultures often clash instead of coexisting peacefully, where some believe their very survival depends on the eradication of others, where intolerance and violence have become a common currency, and people are forced to abandon everything and flee their homes. A drama which I believe will characterize much of this century's history. My question is this: do you think all of the different human cultures will eventually unify or converge on a unique and universal culture? Something like, or perhaps something akin to the United Federation of Planets from the TV series Star Trek. I do not seek a scientific answer, just the honest opinion of a man who, as president of one of the world's leading countries, has been given a privileged point of view on the matter. Thank you.
That's an interesting question. Thank you. I believe that under the surface, all people are the same. Now, part of that is my own heritage and my own background. My father was a black man from Africa. My mother was a white woman in the United States whose ancestors had come from England and Scotland. My mother remarried, and then we moved to Indonesia. So I have a half-sister who is Asian. I have nieces who are half Chinese. And so in my own family, I've got the genetic strains of everybody. And it gives me confidence, confidence that's been reinforced as president, that people are all essentially the same. Similar hopes, similar dreams, similar strengths, similar weaknesses. But we're also all bound by history and culture and habits. And so conflicts arise in part because of some weaknesses in human nature. When we feel threatened, then we like to strike out against people who are not like us. When change is happening too quickly, then we try to hang on to those things that we think can give us a solid foundation. And sometimes the organizing principles are around issues like race or religion. When there are times of scarcity, then people can turn on each other. And so I don't underestimate the very real challenges that we continue to face, and I don't think it is inevitable that the world comes together in a common culture and common understanding. But overall, I am hopeful. And the reason I'm hopeful is if you look at the trajectory of history, humanity has slowly improved. Not in a straight line. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and then you take 1 step back. But if anybody here was asked the question, what moment in human history would you want to be born? And you didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be born in the United States or in Namibia. You didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be male or female, born into a wealthy family or a poor family. So all you knew was what moment in history would give you the best chance for the best life. You would choose today. Because the world is wealthier than it's ever been. It is better educated than it's ever been. It is more tolerant of differences than it's ever been. It's more connected than it's ever been. It's healthier than it's ever been. We live longer than we ever have. We have better dental care than we ever have. It used to be if you had a bad tooth, that was bad. You had a problem. Now, you go see the dentist most of the time. in many countries around the world. It's a small thing, but it's important. Penicillin, books. You know, women are treated with more respect on average today, even though we have a long way to go. People with sexual differences are treated with more respect. And even violence, because today we see terrorism and it's painful, and we're shocked and horrified by what happens. And yet, if you look even in the 20th century, you know, much less if you go back to the days of the conquistadors or Genghis Khan or, you know, slavery, but even just in the 20th century, the world is far less violent today on average than it was 25, 50, 100 years ago. So all of that makes me hopeful, but as I said, it's not inevitable. And I think one of the things that's important for bringing about further progress is that we listen to each other and we understand our differences. I don't think it's necessary for us to all speak one language or all have the same foods or all have the same customs. But I do believe that there are some universal principles that are important. I believe that the most important principle is a very simple one that is at the heart of most of the world's great religions, which is treat somebody the same way you'd want to be treated. And if you start with that basic premise, then we will continue to make progress. But I also think that in order for us to make progress, we have to have that fellow feeling, and we have to combine that with the use of our brains and reason and our intellect. And what's interesting now, everybody here has a phone, and everybody's looking all the time. And in some ways, that's actually isolating people sometimes more than it's bringing people together. And what I also notice is, because there's so much information coming in, that sometimes people just surf the surface of information as opposed to analysis and understanding and study. In America, sometimes in our politics, you see sound bites, what we call sound bites. I don't know the translation, but it's just the Twitter line without trying to figure out, okay, is this true or not? What are the facts? And when it comes to an issue like climate change, we have to have a maturity to say, okay, here's what the science tells us. The planet's getting warmer. And even though it's not happening right now and it's a beautiful day outside in Buenos Aires, we have to start working now so that 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, we still have a beautiful planet to live on. That requires not just a strong heart, but also using our heads. And if we do those two things, then I feel confident that we'll make progress. We'll still have problems, but that's what makes life interesting, is having a few problems. I believe that under the surface, all people are the same. I believe that under the surface, all people are the same. Now, part of that is my own heritage and my own background. Now, part of that is my own heritage and my own background. My father was a black man from Africa. My mother was a white woman in the United States whose ancestors had come from England and Scotland. My father was a black man from Africa. My mother was a white woman in the United States whose ancestors that come from England and Scotland. My mother remarried, and then we moved to Indonesia. My mother remarried, and then we moved to Indonesia. So I have a half-sister who is Asian. I have nieces who are half Chinese. So I have a half-sister who is Asian. I have nieces who are half Chinese. And so in my own family, I've got the genetic strains of everybody. And so in my own family, I've got the genetic strains of everybody. And it gives me confidence, confidence that's been reinforced as president, that people are all essentially the same. Similar hopes, similar dreams, similar strengths, similar weaknesses. It gives me confidence, confidence that's been reinforced as president, that people are all essentially the same. Similar hopes, similar dreams, similar strengths, similar weaknesses. But we're also all bound by history and culture and habits. But we're also all bound by history and culture and habits. And so conflicts arise in part because of some weaknesses in human nature. And so conflicts arise in part because of some weaknesses in human nature. When we feel threatened, then we like to strike out against people who are not like us. When we feel threatened, then we like to strike out against people who are not like us. When change is happening too quickly, then we try to hang on to those things that we think can give us a solid foundation. When change is happening too quickly, then we try to hang on to those things that we think can give us a solid foundation. And sometimes the organizing principles are around issues like race or religion. And sometimes the organizing principles are around issues like race or religion. When there are times of scarcity, then people can turn on each other. When there are times of scarcity, then people can turn on each other. And so I don't underestimate the very real challenges that we continue to face, and I don't think it is inevitable that the world comes together in a common culture and common understanding. And so I don't underestimate the very real challenges that we continue to face, and I don't think it is inevitable that the world comes together in a common culture and common understanding. But overall, I am hopeful. But overall, I am hopeful. And the reason I'm hopeful is if you look at the trajectory of history, humanity has slowly improved. Not in a straight line. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and then you take 1 step back. And the reason I'm hopeful is if you look at the trajectory of history, humanity has slowly improved. Not in a straight line. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and then you take 1 step back. But if anybody here was asked the question, what moment in human history would you want to be born? But if anybody here was asked the question, what moment in human history would you want to be born? And you didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be born in the United States or in Namibia. And you didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be born in the United States or in Namibia. You didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be male or female, born into a wealthy family or a poor family. You didn't know ahead of time whether you were going to be male or female, born into a wealthy family or a poor family. So all you knew was what moment in history would give you the best chance for the best life. you would choose today? So all you knew was what moment in history would give you the best chance for the best life? You would choose today. Because the world is wealthier than it's ever been. It is better educated than it's ever been. Because the world is wealthier than it's ever been. It is better educated than it's ever been. It is more tolerant of differences than it's ever been. It is more tolerant of differences than it's ever been. It's more connected than it's ever been. It's healthier than it's ever been. We live longer than we ever have. It's more connected than it's ever been. It's healthier than it's ever been. We live longer than we ever have. We have better dental care than we ever have. It used to be if you had a bad tooth, that was bad. You had a problem. We have better dental care than we ever have. It used to be if you had a bad tooth, that was bad. You had a problem. Now you go see the dentist most of the time in many countries around the world. Now you go see the dentist most of the time in many countries around the world. It's a small thing, but it's important. Penicillin, books. It's a small thing, but it's important. Penicillin, books. You know, women are treated with more respect on average today, even though we have a long way to go. Women are treated with more respect on average today, even though we have a long way to go. People with sexual differences are treated with more respect. People with sexual differences are treated with more respect. And even violence, because today we see terrorism and it's painful and we're shocked and horrified by what happens. And even violence, because today we see terrorism and it's painful and we're shocked and horrified by what happens. And yet, if you look even in the 20th century, much less if you go back to the days of the conquistadors or Genghis Khan or slavery. And yet, if you look even in the 20th century, much less if you go back to the days of the conquistadors or Genghis Khan or slavery. But even just in the 20th century, the world is far less violent today on average than it was 25, 50, 100 years ago. But even just in the 20th century, the world is far less violent today on average than it was 25, 50, 100 years ago. So all of that makes me hopeful, but as I said, it's not inevitable. So all of that makes me hopeful, but as I said, it's not inevitable. And I think one of the things that's important for bringing about further progress is that we listen to each other and we understand our differences. And I think one of the things that's important for bringing about further progress is that we listen to each other and we understand our differences. I don't think it's necessary for us to all speak one language or all have the same foods or all have the same customs. I don't think it's necessary for us to all speak one language or all have the same foods or all have the same customs. But I do believe that there are some universal principles that are important. But I do believe that there are some universal principles that are important. I believe that the most important principle is a very simple one that is at the heart of most of the world's great religions, which is treat somebody the same way you'd want to be treated. I believe that the most important principle is a very simple one that is at the heart of most of the world's great religions, which is treat somebody the same way you'd want to be treated. I believe that the most important principle is a very simple one that is at the heart of most of the world's great religions, which is treat somebody the same way you'd want to be treated. And if you start with that basic premise, then we will continue to make progress. And if you start with that basic premise, then we will continue to make progress. But I also think that in order for us to make progress, we have to have that fellow feeling, and we have to combine that with the use of our brains and reason and our intellect. But I also think that in order for us to make progress, we have to have that fellow feeling, and we have to combine that with the use of our brains and reason and our intellect. And what's interesting now, everybody here has a phone. Everybody's looking all the time. And in some ways, that's actually isolating people sometimes more than it's bringing people together. And what's interesting now, everybody here has a phone. Everybody's looking all the time. And in some ways, that's actually isolating people sometimes more than it's bringing people together. And what I also notice is, because there's so much information coming in, that sometimes people just surf the surface of information as opposed to analysis and understanding and study. And what I also notice is, because there's so much information coming in, that sometimes people just surf the surface of information as opposed to analysis and understanding and study. In America, sometimes in our politics, you see sound bites, what we call sound bites. I don't know the translation, but it's just the Twitter line without trying to figure out, okay, is this true or not? What are the facts? In America, sometimes in our politics, you see sound bites, what we call sound bites. I don't know the translation, but it's just the Twitter line without trying to figure out, okay, is this true or not? What are the facts? And when it comes to an issue like climate change, we have to we have to have a maturity to say, okay, here's what the science tells us. The planet's getting warmer. And when it comes to an issue like climate change, we have to have a maturity to say, okay, here's what the science tells us. The planet's getting warmer. And even though it's not happening right now and it's a beautiful day outside in Buenos Aires, we have to start working now so that 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, we still have a beautiful planet to live on. And even though it's not happening right now and it's a beautiful day outside in Buenos Aires, we have to start working now so that 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, we still have a beautiful planet to live on. That requires not just a strong heart, but also using our heads. And if we do those two things, then I feel confident that we'll make progress. That requires not just a strong heart, but also using our heads. And if we do those two things, then I feel confident that we'll make progress. We'll still have problems, but that's what makes life interesting, is having a few problems. We'll still have problems, but that's what makes life interesting, is having a few problems.